The Super Mario Galaxy movie is a 2026 animated adventure comedy film based on the 2007 video game Super Mario Galaxy and its 2010 sequel, as well as Nintendo's broader Mario franchise. Directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic and written by Matthew Fogel, it is the sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2023. I really wish I had more of an angle for this video. The Mario Galaxy movie was an unprecedented disaster, and here's why. The Mario Galaxy movie is a sign of things to come. The Super Mario Galaxy movie is a subversive microcosm of American society. But I just can't be bothered. I couldn't think of an angle to save my life. I couldn't even begin to evaluate this movie from any angle, because just like this video, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is a jumbled grab bag of disconnected ideas launched at you in quick succession with no rhyme or reason. I'm gonna approach this video from less of a film fan perspective and more of a Mario fan perspective. It's no secret that this movie isn't exactly high art. I don't think you need a video essay to tell you that, and I think critiquing the shortcomings of the filmmaking in the Super Mario Galaxy movie is kind of a waste of time. But from the perspective of a Mario fan who's invested in how Nintendo treats this franchise and how well I think the games are being adapted, I have a lot more to say. And spoilers for the Mario Galaxy movie from here on out. I will not be bothering to explain most of the things I talk about here, particularly later on. So watch the movie or don't. I don't care. Like I said, this is 3 months plus late, so do what you wish. You've probably seen the movie. It made like $1 billion. Part 1. The story. Since you've no doubt already seen the movie, I will keep my summary brief. Princess Rosalina is a cool space lady who lives in space with the Lumas. One day she reads them a book about Princess Peach and how cool she is. In case you don't remember who that is or what happened in the last movie. Wait, that's not what happens in Rosalina's storybook. I played Mario Galaxy, you can't fool me, Shiggy. Anyway, her story is interrupted by iconic character Megaleg of Mario Galaxy fame, and she puts up a good fight, but ultimately she's defeated and kidnapped by Bowser Jr. Oh. Okay, so they're changing some things pretty drastically. That's okay. It's a movie. Not everything has to be one for one. I get it. What's next? So next we see Mario and Luigi driving around in the Sand Kingdom from Mario Odyssey, and... oh. Yeah, this isn't Super Mario Galaxy, is it? Yeah, so even back when trailers for this movie started to drop, this criticism was kind of inescapable. It was clear pretty much from the get-go that the movie was going to be less Galaxy and more Mario Movie 2 plus Galaxy. And yeah, there are set pieces in the movie that are reminiscent of things from Super Mario Galaxy. We kind of see the Star Festival. Peach's castle gets stolen by a big UFO, the Honey Hive Galaxy is there. But none of those things are given proper context or serve the same purpose in the story. They're just there because they were in the game, and the movie's called Mario Galaxy, so they have to be here. There are some interesting ideas and changes, certainly. We find out that the story takes place on Peach's birthday, and for a fleeting moment I thought that was kind of a fun idea, but it's so inconsequential that in retrospect I wonder why they wasted time on it in the first place. And what they do with Rosalina's backstory could have been interesting. In the game, her backstory, though yes, very much a highlight, is still ultimately disconnected from the plot, and this is a movie, so the things happening kind of do need to be connected to the plot. So they tie her backstory to Peach, which I kind of get. We got hints of Peach's backstory in the first movie, so it's natural to flesh it out more here. Again, though, these bits of backstory aren't much more than afterthoughts shoved between action set pieces, so it ends up being a far cry from what was already there in the games anyway. Rosalina is just so much less interesting here. Her character and her role in the story kind of just don't matter or feel earned the same way it does in the game. Sorry, what was I talking about? Oh, the story, right. So Rosalina gets kidnapped, and Bowser Jr. shows up, and then Mario and Luigi find Yoshi, and why is Yoshi here? Well, I know why. It's because you can't have a Mario movie without Yoshi. But like, the thing about Yoshi is that he isn't really a character. When it comes to the rest of the cast, you can pretty easily like adapt what role they play in-game to a movie and fill in the gaps where necessary, but Yoshi is like a power-up in the games, and the movie doesn't exactly try to counteract that. He's just there and fights when he needs to and is the butt of a few jokes. In a way, I guess it's the most faithful way to portray his character, but I really did expect a little more. He isn't an offensive aspect of the movie, like he's fun to have around, but his screen presence is so inconsequential. He's just kind of there. Toad basically says that when we meet him. Geez, the story's barely started and I've already gotten sidetracked twice. That's a really good sign. But seriously, I'd like to pose a question. What actually is the story of this movie? Like, things happen, sure, there's a plot. What's the difference again? Hey Google, what's the difference between plot and story?
Plot is the sequence of events and actions. The what that structure a narrative chronologically, often focusing on causality. Story is the broader thematic and emotional narrative. The why that includes character, setting, and inner transformation. Plot is external, while story is internal.
Cool, thanks. So yeah, this movie's plot is about Mario and his pals going on an adventure to rescue Rosalina from Bowser Jr. There's your plot summary. It really isn't much more than that. It's the same kind of plot that you'd find in basically every Mario game, but even in the first Mario movie, there was at least the slightest pretense of a story beyond the string of set pieces provided. In that story, Mario is down on his luck and struggles to live up to the expectations put on him by other people, and by the end of it, he finds his calling as a hero. It's super basic stuff, but it's the least you'd expect from a Mario movie, and hell, a kid's movie. The Galaxy movie gets rid of that pretense and gives Mario about as much characterization as most Mario games do. Hell, Peach has the closest thing to a character arc here, not Mario. She gets a story in this movie, albeit a very rushed and unearned one, about being an outcast who knows nothing about her past and eventually learning where she comes from. She's more of a consistent protagonist here than Mario himself. Here's the thing about that first Mario movie. It had a lot of shortcomings, sure, but you really can't say that it was a bad representation of what Super Mario Bros. Is. I mean, you could say that, and I would respect your opinion, but you'd be wrong. For better and for worse, the identity of the Mario franchise is baked into that movie's plot and story. Just like in a video game, Mario is thrown into this new world where he has to learn how to play by its rules in order to make his way to the big bad final boss at the end. And yeah, the Super Mario Galaxy movie also plays out like that. In a way, it's even more faithful to the video game's structure by having even more action and even less context for why it's happening. You know, speaking of video games, I'm getting tired of talking about this dumb baby movie. Let's talk about something actually good. Super Mario Galaxy is arguably one of the most ambitious games that Nintendo has ever put out. It's not uncommon to hear people call it the best Mario game ever, the crowning achievement of the series, Nintendo's magnum opus. Really, it isn't surprising that Nintendo and Illumination chose to market the sequel to the Mario movie as an adaptation of it. But what about Super Mario Galaxy is so good in the first place? What sets it apart from any other game in the series? Compared to, say, Mario 64, the game it follows up most directly, it doesn't do anything too different in terms of structure and overall plot. Super Mario Galaxy is so much more than the sum of its parts. It introduces you to the same Mario adventure you're used to, sure. Mario gets a letter from Peach, he goes to the castle, Bowser kidnaps her, run through a bunch of levels to save the day. You meet a new character and get to explore a new hub world along the way. Although from a pure gameplay and content perspective, the Comet Observatory is a downgrade from the hub worlds that came before it. In general, Mario Galaxy is far more linear and doesn't craft as cohesive a world as those previous games. So then what makes it so great? What elevates it above a run-of-the-mill course completion 3D platformer? And the answer is very simple. Super Mario Galaxy treats these characters in its world with reverence in a way that no game before or since has. For most Mario games, just being fun is enough. They don't need to immerse you or be atmospheric or have subtle moments of storytelling. But Galaxy? Mario Galaxy doesn't just fling the player into the first level and tell you to play. In Mario Galaxy, Bowser is a bigger threat than he's ever been before. He doesn't just kidnap the princess, he rips her castle from the ground and flies into space. And ultimately, Mario fails to stop him. When you wake up, you're on a distant planet a million miles from home, and it seems like all hope is lost, and you're alone. Mario is alone. It's a surreal emotion to see attached to a character who previously was only allowed to be cheery or occasionally upset. Mario is alone and there's nothing you can do about it except chase some rabbits. And then you meet a weird new character named Rosalina. In a lesser adventure, we'd learn everything there is to know about Rosalina here, but in Mario Galaxy, you don't know who she is. She's supernatural, like some kind of guardian angel on a divine mission to protect you. It's a complete departure from the kind of character that would be introduced in this series. If anything, she feels like an element that one of the RPGs would have introduced. She doesn't serve a mechanical gameplay purpose, but a storytelling one. Even Mario himself seems to be awestruck by her. It isn't until you dive deeper into the game that you begin to piece together more of who she is. Even when you do eventually discover her storybook, it isn't clear where exactly she comes from or even when. Her association with familiar Mario series iconography makes her even more enigmatic, and you're never given a clear answer. And the fact that so much of this game's storytelling is done wordlessly makes it even more special. In the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Rosalina is just Space Peach, basically. She's a damsel in distress with vague magical powers, but she doesn't feel mysterious or otherworldly in the slightest, and she spends a majority of the movie stuck in a cage off-screen. I didn't need Rosalina to fulfill the exact same role as in the games. If that were the case, she still wouldn't do much, but they somehow managed to give her an even smaller active role in the story. I don't want this section of the review to come across as, I'm mad because the movie changed stuff. The movie, no matter how faithful, was never not going to change a lot. I'm only frustrated because the movie had great ideas already on the table and tossed it all away for something more palatable. In Super Mario Galaxy's finale, Mario, after collecting enough Power Stars, flies to the center of the universe for a climactic final battle with Bowser. Arguably one of the best boss fights in the series ensues, and Mario emerges victorious, or so it seems. In the wake of the battle, a massive, universe-destroying black hole is created, pulling Peach's castle, the Comet Observatory, Peach, and Mario into its orbit. And when it once again seems like all hope is lost, the Luma that's been by your side the entire journey rallies all of its siblings to conjure their power and... Rosalina appears to tell Mario, to tell us, that the universe has been reborn, that the cycle of life in the cosmos will continue. We hear the crying of baby stars. What that means exactly is up for interpretation. And mirroring the beginning of the game, Mario wakes up in a field of flowers, except now he's home. We hear Rosalina's voice one last time before Super Mario Galaxy comes to an end. In the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Mario and the gang have to rescue Rosalina from the big scary Bowser Death Star, but they need a pilot, so they meet Fox McCloud from Star Fox, who flies them there. And Mario and Peach have to beat a super cool Mario Maker obstacle course, and it's so retro. And Mario fights Bowser on a bridge, just like in the games. And Mario cuts the bridge down with an axe, and Bowser falls in the lava, and Bowser Jr. is sad, but then, whoa, he's still alive, and he's a skeleton now. It's Dry Bowser, whoa. Just like from New Super Mario Bros. And Mario and Luigi have to fight him, and Bowser Jr., and Bowser Jr. has the Wonder Power from Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Mario has the Drill Mushroom, and Luigi, for some reason, has the Cloud Suit from Galaxy 2, and he steals Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush, and he makes Mr. Game & Watch from Smash Bros. My favorite character. And Mr. Game & Watch beats up Dry Bowser, but then Bowser Jr. makes the Ruined King of Dragon from Super Mario Odyssey with his paintbrush, but like it eats him, and Mario has to save Bowser Jr. And oh hey, wasn't Rosalina in this movie? Peach rescues her from the big scary thing, and they combine their power and turn the Bowser planet into like a cool planet with like grass and stuff. And they go back to the Mushroom Kingdom, and they rebuild the castle, and oh my god, it's the cape from Super Mario World. Oh my god, I love this movie. It's so good. I love eating slop. Part 2. The characters. Everyone knows Mario is cool as fuck, but who knows what he's thinking? Who knows why he crushes turtles? And why do we think about him as fondly as we think of the mythical Dr. Pepper? Perchance. I believe it was Kant who said, "Experience without theory is blind, but theory without experience is mere intellectual play." Mario exhibits experience by crushing turts all day, but he exhibits theory by stating, "Let's-a go, keep it up, baby." When Mario leaves his place of safety to stomp a turdy, he knows that he may die, and yet, for a man who can purchase lives with money, a life becomes a mere store of value, a tax that can be paid for, much as a rich man feels any law with a fine as a price. We think of Mario as a hero, but he is simply a 1%er of a more privileged variety, the life kind. Perchance. Shigeru Miyamoto. One of the problems with making a Mario movie is that Mario isn't really a character, and none of his friends are either. Character is one of those areas where those Sonic movies from Paramount do a pretty good job. They're all pretty well defined in the games already, so there isn't much gray area in how to write them, but where do you even start with Mario? To address the 6'2" elephant in the room, Chris Pratt is, Chris Pratt is a very egregious miscasting for this role. He's not a bad actor. I've seen and heard him give good performances, and he's not the kind of actor who should be allowed anywhere near Mario. And none of this is new. Every single person watching this video has heard the same song and dance before. But here's the thing. For one movie, Chris Pratt is fine. He was, at best, a safe choice who delivers the most inoffensive performance possible. But we ain't stopping at one. And his performance isn't any better in Galaxy. If anything, the overall quality of performances in this movie is better, and that makes Mr. CP stand out even more. That being said, I think Mario here is fine, and somehow still a huge downgrade from the first movie. He wasn't great there, he wasn't like the definitive Mario or anything, far from it, but from a screenwriting standpoint, there was something to him. He had an arc and a consistent personality, and oh yeah, was actually the main character. He sure isn't afforded any of that here, so much so that I seriously wonder what was going on in that writer's room. Could they just not come up with anything interesting for him? For pretty much the entire movie, the titular character kind of just coasts through the plot while not really doing anything of consequence. And the most internal conflict he goes through is having a crush on Peach, I guess. I get that Mario isn't complex. If anything, he's a lot more faithful to game Mario in this movie. He jumps around and fights people and that's it. But hear me out. I think bringing Mario to a different medium provides a unique opportunity for neglected aspects of his character to shine. Mario, when he is characterized, is a relentlessly positive and persistent person, and that can make for an engaging protagonist if you challenge his morals in the right way. I know that's asking for a lot, but it's a movie, a film. More focus should be put on stuff like internal conflict. That's how films work. Hell, if they can't give him conflict, they can at least take notes from other media and give him a better personality. The Mario OVA from 1986 and the Super Show from a few years later both present versions of Mario that, although very different from each other, are both pretty memorable and are way more faithful than the generic everyman that Illumination spits out.
Luigi.
But what about the other characters? They don't fare much better. I already covered the main issues in the last part, so I'll keep it brief, but Rosalina got done so dirty. What happened to the mystique or the mystery or the aura? Don't get me wrong, I absolutely don't want Rosalina to be the stoic, expressionless sage she is in the game. That's boring and wouldn't leave much room for meaningful interactions between her and other characters. In fact, for the one scene we got of her not being kidnapped or being Peach's sister, I really like how she was characterized, and credit where credit is due. Brie Larson was a fitting casting, fitting enough anyway. But in retrospect, nothing about Rosalina here leaves anything to the imagination. She doesn't offer anything. The movie doesn't attempt to make the audience curious about her character, or make you want to learn more about her, like the real Super Mario Galaxy does. Honestly, everyone else was fine enough. Jack Black was kind of phoning it in this time around, but other than that, I was fine with all the performances and the way the characters were written. Yoshi was a useless but very fun addition. Kamek was just as good a comic relief here as he was in the last one, and honestly, I cannot overstate how much I appreciate there being at least one real voice actor here with Kevin Michael Richardson. He's giving it his all, and that's pretty cool. Bowser Jr. was also a standout. Based on the trailers, I didn't think I liked Benny Safdie's voice for him, but it really grew on me. Plus, Safdie is indeed voice acting here, which you cannot say about everyone. And writing-wise, yeah, that's Bowser Jr. It probably would have been hard for them to mess him up. Peach and Toad both showed a surprising amount of improvement. I honestly could not stand either of them in the previous one, but they've had their moments here. There's one delivery in particular from Keegan-Michael Key during the whole Gateway Galaxy sequence that's so outrageous it genuinely made me laugh out loud, and that counts for something.
Monkey jump through the wall!
I wish Fox wasn't here. I wish Wart wasn't here. Why are they here? They just take up time. They're fun to watch, and Wart is... ooh, boy. Wart's cool. But they take up time that could have been dedicated to, like, anything else. This movie has so many characters that even if Illumination wanted to flesh any of them out, would they have even had time? Part 3. Mario is so cool. Do you guys like Mario 2? Do you like recognizing things? I love recognizing things. After all, it's why I see movies. Citizen Kane? More like Citizen Lame. Where the fuck is Fox McCloud? Honey Queen, Wart, Birdo, Mauser, Clawgrip, Ukiki, Piantas, Conkdor, Star Fox, Pikmin, Rob, Dry Bowser, Mr. Game & Watch, Daisy, and so much more. What can I say? Nintendo, you did it again. You touched my cold, dead heart and made it feel again. Part 4. What's the point? Big shocker, these Mario movies only exist because of money, and they always have. That was true in 1993 when Hollywood Pictures shut out their live-action adaptation of Mario. It was true 30 years later when Illumination made theirs. It's true now. But you know what? The Super Mario Bros. Movie from 2023 had a lot of talented artists working on it that gave a damn about bringing this world to life, and most of those same people worked on Super Mario Galaxy. They didn't stop giving a damn. This world is visually beautiful, it's lively, it's expansive. The Mario world has always brought with it a real sense of intrigue. This wacky mushroom world that Mario gets isekai'd to from normal mundane Brooklyn is never really explained to a point where you can wrap your head around it. There's always something new around the corner to discover. It's a big reason why Mario has captivated so many people for so long. And when I watched the Super Mario Galaxy movie, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. This world didn't charm me anymore. I wasn't wondering what was around the next corner. I just didn't care. This is what the movie's obsession with cameos ultimately leads to. In a vacuum, no, cameos aren't bad. The Mario series is no stranger to them, after all, but when your movie trades being a story for being a slideshow of recognizable IP, it kind of sacrifices any cohesion this universe might have had. Stuff like Wart and Birdo and Fox McCloud and Pikmin all have their place that makes sense in their game appearances. I'm not saying things can't be changed, just that you can't put zero thought into how these elements are utilized. The de-evolution of Wart in this movie especially is very telling to me. In Super Mario Bros. 2, he's the evil king of Subcon. You don't need much more context than that. But when you take him out of that context and just slip him in anywhere you can, you kind of have to explain that. I'm still not entirely sure what they were going for. I guess he's a mob boss now? I understand that this only becomes an issue if you're familiar with the source material. I get that. But even ignoring it, we're never given any context for why he's here or what his position is in this world. I don't even think they say his name in the movie. The character is Crash Land in the Cascade Kingdom from Mario Odyssey in this movie, but it's a planet now, not a kingdom. Precious time is dedicated to an action sequence involving the dinosaur from that game, but without the context of Mario Odyssey's story, it's entirely random. They quite literally could have put anything here and it would have had the same effect of wasting time. The third act of this movie might as well be the messiest reference fest since Free Guy. Every problem with how the Mario IP is handled throughout the rest of the movie is multiplied here 10 times. There's no plot reason for Dry Bowser to be here, except to give Bowser a fake-out death for like 30 seconds. Bowser Jr. has Wonder Power from Mario Wonder in this movie, but it's not that. Like, not really, he can kind of just do that without the power-up. The Bowser planet in this movie utilizes the Wonder Bowser aesthetic as well as Bowser Land from 3D World, but why? And why should I care? Because I'm supposed to recognize it and point at the screen? Yeah, that stuff is good in the games. The games have context for why those things are there. Say what you will about the first movie, but generally speaking, nothing is really out of place. The references that pop up throughout the movie all appear in places that make sense for the most part. Even from a fan perspective, that first movie was just more exciting. The presentation of the world felt faithful. Most of the time when the Mario Galaxy movie attempts to be exciting, it's just annoying. The key jingling doesn't work anymore. I won't lie and say that I'm not particularly rubbed the wrong way by all this because I'm a fan. The fan part of me would prefer for these elements to be in their proper place and for this to be a more accurate representation of Mario's world, like what I'm used to. But I understand changing things. I just don't understand changing things for the worse over and over again. And the worst part is now they've blown their load on all this stuff. There won't be a second shot at Wart. He's forever confined to Mario Galaxy movie jail. If they ever try to adapt Odyssey in this universe, there won't be a dinosaur or a dragon. The two things most people will remember from that game. They certainly can't do Rosalina again. She'll never be as important to any Mario story as she is to Galaxy. She'll get a scene or two in the next one, I'm sure, but that storybook that everyone wanted to see adapted so much, that's never happening. And so I don't think I want another Mario movie. There's gonna be more, and I'm gonna keep seeing them, and I'm probably gonna continue to have mild, mindless fun watching them like I did with this one. I'll point and smile at the references, but I'll go home and probably continue to be frustrated with how these movies inevitably try less and less as they go on. So, like, is it good or what? The Super Mario Galaxy movie is fine. If you divorce it from the source material, from Super Mario Galaxy, from Super Mario in general, it is fine. It is a serviceable children's movie, and the people that aggressively hate this movie are being as hyperbolic as the people who think it's amazing. There aren't really any well-defined arcs to speak of, and just as many things happen that don't amount to anything as things that do. But you know what? I've seen worse. I've seen so much worse. That being said, every time I hear another, just enjoy it, man. It's for the kids, man. It becomes harder to ignore how much better this could have been. It's far from controversial anymore to say that children deserve much better entertainment than what they get, but it seems like a lot of fans still have trouble internalizing it because every time something isn't as well received as they'd like, that's the argument used, that it's for kids, and that means critics are in the wrong for criticizing it with the same standards as a real movie. But like, so many good kids movies still come out, and I still enjoy them tons as an adult. Just last month at the time of writing this, 3 months at the time of recording, oh god, we got Hoppers from Pixar, a wacky, fast-paced comedy-adventure movie for kids. Everything the Mario Galaxy movie also claims to be. But it was really good. It had proper character arcs and a consequential story in which those arcs happened and all the other stuff that can make a kid's movie genuinely great. And that came from Disney, the creatively bankrupt mega corporation. If the bar is so high, why does Illumination still stoop so low? Final verdict on the movie, I don't know. I gave it a 4 out of 10 on Letterboxd, so I guess that's my review here. It didn't offend me, not too much. It didn't thrill me. It was a fine Mario movie, a pretty lackluster kids movie, and a pretty bad film. It took me so long to get this video out because honestly I stopped feeling any particular passion about it a couple weeks after I saw the movie, but it's here now. Thank you for sticking through it. I will see you all again when Super Mario Titans is revealed. God bless you, Shigeru Miyamoto.